Where shall we go today? Where shall we go? Where do you want to go today? Let's visit
York! A lot of people think in order to see ruins, etc., you need to go to New Brighton or Rome. But you don't. You can see plenty of ruins here that are actually quite beautiful, especially with the sun shining through them in York. York also has this castle thing, which is a very small castle that you can walk up and have a look at. It's very exciting. When you climb the steps and get to the top of this tower, you get fantastic views of the car park. The Romanians were very, very big fans of steps. And even if there was no reason to have steps, they'd make a reason. So they just got this big pile of earth, made a big pile of it, and then put some steps going up to the top. One thing York can't cope with very well, and why should it, is traffic. There seems to be traffic chaos wherever you go, and not only that, it took me over an hour to find somewhere to park, and that was over £2.50 an hour to park there. So it's not very car friendly. So if you're coming to York, I suggest you come by camel. Behind me we have got York Minster, which is a massive building that is built to celebrate a made up story that someone created 200 years ago. It really is a cathedral, but they shouldn't call it a cathedral. They couldn't do, because they couldn't spell the word cathedral, so they just called it Minster. This is the main reason that people come to York, that and the wall and the good food and everything. But what many people don't know is that this massive building had a child, and that child is next door. And they called it St Michael's Gallery. Here we see a plaque to Miles Coverdale, who was the great-grandfather of Mr Coverdale of Whitesnake, the band from the 80s. It doesn't matter what angle you look at this building at, it is impressive. It goes all the way down there, it's huge as well, and all the way that way. Oh, hang on, no, that's not impressive, that's scaffolding. It's doing an impression of Big Ben. Within the shadow of York Minster, at least it would be the shadow of York Minster if the sun was at that side of it, are these beautiful row of very old shops, including the National Trust gift shop and something that looks like it's come out of Harry Potter, this little walkway, where I'm pretty sure if I go through I'll see someone playing with the wand. Behind me is a statue of one of the Romanian's most famous emperors, and that of course is Bruce. Emperor Bruce did build Rome, but all by himself. It took him about 3 weeks, but I mean, there's a lot of work gone into this. Never let it be said the Romanians didn't have a sense of humour. I mean, they built York Minster, and nearby they put a smaller version, but they're hidden it. But I reckon it's behind these doors, so it's not really that hidden, is it? Not to be outdone with the big craze of roundabouts in cities, the Romanians built this massive one. It's huge. It's the biggest roundabout I've seen today, apart from the ones on the motorway. But it is absolutely massive, flat, and it's got one tree in the middle of it. It's the one tree roundabout of York. If you come to York, you must visit York Castle Museum, although ironically it's not a castle. But it is in York, and it's closing at the moment. I'm not saying there's a drug problem in York. Well, there isn't, because here you can buy coffee and coke for £4.20. It's difficult to believe that this river, which is the River Ouse, is so called because at its source it comes out the ground like when you squeeze a spot and the pus oozes out. You wouldn't think of that looking at it now, would you? You can't be bothered walking around York, and why should you? There's all these cruise boats that will take you for rides up and down the river so you can see the backs of buildings and canal banks and river banks and ducks and water and other boats. It's beautiful. A lot of people don't realise this, but if it wasn't for York, there wouldn't be TV channels. Well, there wouldn't be ITV anyway, because ITV was originally set up in this building here, and there's the transmitter to prove it. York is also the first place on the planet to have an electric tour bus with no top on. Some buildings in York look quite old, but they are actually quite new. For example, this building, which was built only 375 years ago, which in York terms is pretty damn new. So here we are in the museum gardens. As you can see in the background, there's a ruined old wall of the old wall, plus something a little bit more, I think, Victorian, like a folly. And then there's just these beautiful gardens that go on and on and on for moments and moments and moments. So if you come to York and you want somewhere where it's like a park, you can do a lot worse than come to York. You wouldn't believe there was so much traffic, would you, in these very narrow roads, but there are. But Goldilocks, not Goldilocks, who was it? The woman who was looking for the golden slipper, she couldn't find it. Well, it wasn't gold, it was glass, but it doesn't matter because it's there. There is the golden slipper, even though it was glass and I got that wrong. But never mind, because I can just spin round and you can see a beautiful old building and forget about what I just said. There are so many old buildings here in York, like this one behind me, which has recently been renovated and opened up as a restaurant. But they won't let us in because they don't like tacky TV. Not to be outdone by Chester, which has a Roman wall, built by Romanians. York has a Roman wall, also built by Romanians. Unfortunately, this one just kind of stops at the river because they didn't know how to make bridges back in Romanian days. We're now actually on the York Wall, built by the Romanians. And as you can see, there's this ever so slight design flaw, which is this fence had to be put up by the Victorians because it kept falling off. But you look the other way, get a beautiful view of a bus. It's great, I love these walls. Victorians built this bridge about 25 years ago. What's quite surprising is it's got a lot of white roses on it. Now white roses represent York, Yorkshire even, which is weird because, let's be honest, York isn't in Yorkshire. No matter where you go in York, the architecture is always amazing and old-fashioned, including this traditional Romanian shopping centre built out of containers. Which is ironic because they weren't even invented when this was built. York, like Chester, has a barber, but this one actually does cut hair. As you walk around the wall, you come across things like this, which is some kind of old ruin and was probably very important in the day. But the important thing is now it's not important at all. The architecture and the beauty of York is plain to see for anyone. And they've inspired many people, including the artist Banksy. Every few hundred metres or so, the Romanians put this rather bizarre semicircle in the wall, possibly so you could see the views. But unfortunately, you can't actually see anything unless you're 6 foot tall, and you can look over there, in which case you can see a road and a posh house. Here we see a lot more Romanian architecture, including this fabulous scaffolding staircase, which is the original, was put here 15,000 years ago. The staircase rather negated the fact of the wall being even there at all, because I climbed the wall on the other side using some stairs, and now I'm climbing down the wall on this side, so they might as well have not bothered. But this staircase does go on and on and on. I wouldn't mind the wall's not even that high, but I suppose it's because it's built on an embankment called the Embankments. Every pub in York is older than pubs, including this one here, which is the Black Swan, which was built before colour was invented. Also, it's got a crane growing out the top of it, and it gave birth to a glass building. York is an amazing place. Behind over there, you can just see the wall. You can also see St Cuthbert's Church. St Cuthbert's Church was built by Cuthbert, who wasn't a saint, he just wanted to call himself a saint, for the people who lived in this area. Mainly the people who lived on those apartments over there, which was very nice of him. York, like Chester, has a hat shop, but to clarify so you know where you are, it actually says York underneath it, which is very helpful. Guys, I've got this brilliant idea. Let's build ourselves a really posh restaurant. Let's call it something really nice, like a bistro and all that. Let's call it the Slug and Lettuce. There are a lot of these little hideaways as well, which are quite nice. Just off the beaten track, pubs, bars, restaurants, picture framing, you know, usual thing. All of which leads us through to somewhere I don't want to be, sorry. Oh well, I thought that was a walkthrough, but it's not. Never mind. Now Chester, they had a model of their cathedral made of dirt. Not in York. Theirs is made of brass. Many people say these walls were built as a defence against people coming in, or for that matter, people trying to get out. And that's why they've got these arrow slots, where you can shoot your arrows through them and hit a brick wall or something. But that's rubbish. The only reason why these walls are here is because the Romanians get bored easy and they want something to do. They'd built all the buildings, so they thought, oh, let's just surround it with a wall, make it look pretty. A while ago, I said, that I was expecting someone to be playing with their wand when I went around that corner. Well, guess what? They could have been, because here is World of Wizardry, and it's on the same street that Harry Potter was filmed on. Unbelievable. Here I am in a traditional Romanian food court, which is built for Romanians to eat food. Sadly, it's closed at the moment. But I've come across the Nutcracker Christmas shop, but more importantly and more scarily, the shop that must not be named. But it's named the shop that must not be named. So ironically, it's been named, even though it must not be named. References to Harry Potter are everywhere, including this shop called The Boy Wizard. But he's a man now. Even on the other side of the shop that must not be named, it's still named. And they put wands in frames. Who puts wands in frames? That's stupid. Someone could break in and do that and end the world. It's Christmas. Oh no, it's not. It's September. Like many times before it and after it, York too has a square. However, this one, well, it's more of a long straight thing with a chunk at the end that looks like a Toblerone. But the statue looks like it's made out of melted Toblerone. These shops are in fact older than York itself, and they were shipped in by Air Elephant 55 years ago to recreate the Harry Potter street. But it's all codswallop, because, well, none of it really happened, it's only a story. As you can see, they didn't even match the buildings together, they're all different. It's madness, absolute madness. And a jeweller's. Everything in York is very narrow, very quaint, and not suitable for vehicles. It doesn't stop people driving vehicles around there. But if you like shopping centres where you could get run over by a taxi at any minute, or just go around corners and find something that's even more bizarre than the corner you've just gone round, then you can definitely come to York. This street is a little bit safer due to the fact that it's pedestrianised. So you're not allowed to come down here, but there is a danger of being hit by bubbles. But I don't know where they come from. There are bubbles floating around. It's like a magic place. And we're going to go past soon Ye Olde Star Inn, but as you know, Ye Olde Star Inn is spelt wrong because they never said ye and they never said oldie either. It's just something the Victorians did to make things sound older than what they actually were. But there you go, it's beautiful, and there's still bubbles everywhere as well. And I have no idea where these bubbles are coming from, it's very bizarre. Bad news for me is the clock's ticking 6 o'clock and that's when my parking ticket runs out. Well, the problem is I don't know where my car is. York is, by far and away, the best city I've ever been to, called York. So until next time, bye.
Where shall we go today? Where shall we go? Where do you want to go today?
Let's point out, at the time of filming this, it is the 30th of September 2018. The 30th of September 2018. I repeat, it's the 30th of September 2018. And anyone think it was Christmas Day?